Hello everybody, this is Carol from Friendly Quail. I'm going to do some window pockets today using envelopes with the window in. So I hope you'll stay and watch and craft with me. And this is what I'm going to be making. Some of them are just plainer like this. They just have the frame around it. And then others have, to make it look more vintagey, I put book page. I'm going to try it with some scrapbook paper on the one that I make now. So I'm going to kind of just walk you through. I wasn't my original idea. I watched a video by Grammy's Keepsake, and she made the kind without the scrap on. And it's called Covering Window Envelopes Using Digital Prints. Now, I'm not using digital prints. I'm using cardstock scraps that I have left over. And the other one I watched that inspired me was Which Craft Do You Do? And her video was Scrap Paper Frames with Carrie. So I kind of combined those two and made it my own. So I'm using an envelope, a business envelope. And this is the third time I've started this video. And I already cut it. So I'm just going to show you. This was my envelope, my business envelope. And it was ruffled up here because I had ripped it open. So what I did is I cut it so that this side is about the same as this side. And that way I had a smooth cut. And then I went in and I made sure that this flap was glued down. Glued a little bit too much. That this flap in here was glued down so that it's not going to be in the way, even though I'm going to cover it up. And then I also measured so that this here is about the same as this. And this ends up being, mine with this envelope ends up being 4 inches across and 5.5 up and down. And this I'll save and I'll use to make some other kind of envelope pocket. So I never, waste your stuff. Now the first thing I'm going to do is, if you look, these have a card on the inside, so that when you take out your tag, it looks really pretty with the tag in it, and when you take it out, there's something nice behind that. You could use any scrap paper, book page, whatever you want. But that's I'm gonna be cutting a piece of this, and I'm doing this one for my circus journal. So I have some of these little mustaches, like the what do you call them? The ringmaster would have. And on the outside, I'm going to be using this, and I'm going to use this scrap for adding that scrappy look to it. So I have this piece, and I actually know that this is 5.5 inches tall, but I need to cut it a little bit smaller. So I'm going to cut a little bit of this off. This happens to be 5.5 inches. Because when I put it in, it needs to be even with this up here, but it's easier to get in if it's not the full length that way. And because it's 4 across, I'm going to cut it like 3 3/4. I'm sorry, I know I'm out of. There we go. So now I've got this so that it'll fit inside of here, and I'm going to glue that in a little bit. And make sure you fit it, make sure it goes in, that everything's covered. This one, when I put it in though, I will put this even with the top, pretty much. So you want to make sure it's covered in there. And it is. It goes below. There's just another little bit of a mustache showing. So I'll be using that. And then I'm going to cut the one I want for my frame the exact size. So it's 5.5. I think maybe I'll cut this edge off. Cut this one 4. Because I cut it apart from a bigger piece, and I have some of that on, so I'm going to take it off. So now it's 4 inches wide, and I'm going to make it 5.5. This will make the frame on top of here. I have to cut out the inside part. And when I watched Grammy's Keepsake, and she made one like this, she used a tool that was a scrapbooking tool. It's like, I have one of those. I haven't used it since I was doing scrapbooking to make a frame, but it's this tool right here, and I'm going to use this to cut out my inside frame. Now, if you don't have this tool, you'll just have to measure always your widest spot, and it's, you know, whatever this is. You can go into the window a little bit, and you're going to have to draw yourself something, and then put like this, and I can do something like this, put this inside. No, I wouldn't do that. I would do this. I would put this on here, and I would cut it out with like a craft knife. So you can do this, or you can even cut it out with the scissors. It's a little bit more difficult. But for this tool, I'm going to be able to do it a lot simpler. And this, you cut out, I measured so that this would cover my widest spot. And I've adjusted my frame board cutter, and I'm right now doing the corners, and then I can put that into here, and I have this little cutter tool, and what you do is you start in one of those corners and you cut it to the other corner. So now it's loose in here. So it's pretty easy if you have this tool, a little more difficult if you don't, but it still works if you cut it out yourself. Okay. And one more side. This really does work slick. But if you're not going to do a lot of them, you might not want to go and purchase something like that. So now that will be going on to here, like this. Now, I will save these because these are fun little things that you can use, like little frames too. I'm going to start by putting this on the inside. And I'm going to make sure that I have right up to the top, because that is going to be very important. Okay. Now you notice I left this open. That's the last thing I'm going to do, is put that in there. I'm going to kind of get this opened up so I can slide this in. So I get it into that corner kind of, and get it even with this top right here. Okay. And then I'll just kind of pat it down. And that's my inside. Now, if I was just doing the simple one, this would go on top of here, just like that. I would just put glue on here and put that on. And then you can decorate it if you want, but you'd be done. That's the kind Grammy's Keepsake made. But when I was watching Carrie's video, she put paper around the edge, and so I'm going to do that to make it just a little different. So what I'm going to do is rip some of this scrapbook. This is just paper. And I'll see how, if I need to change any width or anything. But what you're going to be doing is putting this So it sort of sticks out on both sides like that. And I'm going to rip this top off because that's going to stick out on the top, and then I'm going to rip it off down here. And so it'll stick out on the bottom as well. I think I want to rip a little bit more off. Now, I'm also going to, I'm going to use some of this Peacock Feathers Distress Oxide on the outside of this to add a little bit of color that also matches with what's in the dots. Now, while I'm doing this, I'm going to tell you a little bit about what's been going on in my life. A couple weeks ago, we had to put our cat to sleep, which is always really sad. He wasn't quite 14, but we knew something was wrong because he was losing weight and he was throwing up a lot. Like, not just a hairball type throw up, but just throwing up constantly. So we had him at the vet, and we did some blood work, and it wasn't his thyroid, and it wasn't this, and it wasn't that. So she said it could be cancer, and but we were going to put him on steroids for a while because it could have been from some other kind of inflammation or something. Well, we had him on the steroids, and at first it seemed like it was working a little bit, and then it got bad again. And then over the weekend, he ended up with, unfortunately, gross but bloody diarrhea. So it probably was cancer. And so Monday I called and took him in, and we had him put to sleep. So that was very emotional, and you know, if any of you have animals, you know what that's like to have to give them up. I still have one cat. He was a little sweetheart, but we lost our Darwin. And he was a big black and white tuxedo cat, and just gorgeous, and a nice cat. So that was very hard. And then the end of that same week, on Friday, we lost a very dear friend to COVID. And then on Monday, the following Monday, his wife died. And same thing, COVID. They had been in the hospital for about a month. They had Omicron, and they had not had a vaccine. Not quite sure why. We tried to talk them into it, but no, they didn't trust it. And now they're gone. And they are in the camper in Wisconsin right next to us, and we've been friends with them and had so many things that we've done with them for years and years and years. So that's very difficult, especially because we sort of feel like it really didn't have to happen if they would have gotten a vaccine. Now, I know some of you might not agree with me, but I just can't help but think that if they would have had a vaccination, even if they got it, it wouldn't have been deadly. And he was just going to retire this summer, and now they're gone. And then last week, my sister was here. So, she was here for a week. And her significant other's name is Richard, just like my husband. So that was interesting when you say, "Hey, Richard," and they both go, "What?" And we did some, you know, fun things while they were here. But it was kind of nice to, you know, it's always nice when people go home too, because then you have your house back. I gotta rip a little bit more off. So today I made this video, and then it didn't work. It was sideways. I don't like when they, for some reason my camera switched while I was putting it up, and so I redid it. I started it again, and then I messed up. So I'm not having the best luck today, but hopefully this time it'll work. I've got some other videos in the works and planning stages. I'm going to be making a whole bunch of, oops, I didn't do this. A whole bunch of, like one after another, book page pockets. Because my stash is pretty low. So I'm going to be doing that. And I'm going to be working on my circus. I'll start with a cover for my circus journal and kind of do that step by step. Okay, let's see. Usually paper rips so easy, and this is not ripping easily. Kind of a strong paper. So this off of here, a little bit more off of there. Now you could do this in pieces. You can do it with really small scraps. You don't need to have it all the way across. Some of the book pages I did like part of one and then another part of one and overlapped them. I think that'll work. Okay. Get this lined up. And that'll do her. Now I'm going to put this on here. Now the frame is bigger. So I'm going to want to line up this line with the top of the envelope as best I can. So it's down about that far. And I'm going to do two things. I'm going to put some glue around the edge of this because this will stick out onto the window. And I don't want that to be loose. And then I'm going to put glue on the part of the envelope that is going to be covered up. Now this is a little wider than this, so it covers up a little bit more of the window on the top and the bottom. But it's easier to measure just once, and you can do it. You know, you can change your settings and things. But for me, it was easier to just do it the same. So I'm going to try to line this up with this. And I want to make sure it's straight. Okay. still have it open. That is going to be, the window will be, I'll just use this piece in there. But I'm going to put a thumb notch on before I glue it shut because it's easier to get this in here. It's also easier if I didn't have wet glue, if it was dry, but I should be able to do it. I'm going to get that in as far as I can. Want to get down. And looks like about the middle. Okay. Okay. And now I can get this and glue it shut. And that's it. So whether you like the more scrappy look or just the plain clean cut off look, you can do it either way. And then you've got an envelope with a nice pocket. You just put the glue on the back here and glue it into your journal, and then you put your tags in. And that's it. I'll show you with this one. So that's what it's going to look like. But I'm going to have a circus one in there when I do that. So anyway, that's how you can make some nice envelopes. And I hope you'll join me in my next video when I'll be working on some new other pockets or my circus journal or, you know, whatever. So hopefully I'll be able to do more now that kind of all the company's gone, because the week before my cat died, I also had company. So hopefully I'll be able to get back at it, do a few more videos. So thank you for joining me today, and I hope you enjoyed seeing these window pockets and try them yourself. And let me know if there's anything else that you'd like to see or show me in what you've been doing. Okay? So that's it. Thank you for everyone for being my subscriber, and I hope you will come back again and see the next video. This is Carol from Friendly Quail saying bye.